Hello, good morning, good evening, and so on. Rarely do we get a chance to talk about certain things that it's when it comes upon us, and this is going to be a video about just such a thing. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we're looking at right now, which is the Imagine Image website. So there's a photo gallery that you're looking at right now on the left. And by the way, this website is configured to also be seen on a mobile device. I don't know how well it works. It's just a feature that they have inside the backbone architecture. The fact is that we put these images in there to show things that either we're doing or that we support. Here's an example right here. These little fold-up things. We just started making these because they were needed for fog of war to be able to put markers on the table and move them around. So we made these little tents, these little fold-up things, which you can download and right-click and so on from the website when you view the gallery. And another example of something that we created on the Cricut machine is these little forest profiles that you can put in place. And here's an example of, again, the same idea where it's a damaged building. So you can replace the item there and put this in place. And of course, everyone has by now seen that we're also working on Pirates of the Spanish Main. Spirates. And we also did some other early work that we did was these chevaux de frise and so on out of the Cricut machine. And you can see the wonder, the greatness of the Cricut machine is cutting out these little things. And this worked very well. The same goes with a stockade fort. It worked pretty well. And you just fold it in half, glue it, and put it up, and you've got yourself a wall without too much effort. Same with the cornfields. This is where we actually started, coming up with an idea to make cornfields, and this really worked well. This was surprising. That looks really good on the game table, even though it's a flat miniature. It doesn't matter. In this case, it exactly much better than the 3D cornfield of various materials you might see. It's a lot easier, and of course it's cheaper. Once you have a Cricut machine, of course, it's free. It's just cardstock. Same with these fences. We no longer need to buy fences. We can just make as many fences as we want out of cardstock. And this is an example of what we can do with the Cricut Maker machine. I'm sure there's other cutting machines out there, but this is one other type of fence that we created. So this is an X style fence, and this is breastworks, just a simple fold up flat representing breastworks that have been thrown up in front of a unit or something at the edge of a forest or whatever. And of course, the original idea, the very, very oldest thing, was these roads and rivers cut out of foamies. And we used the Cricut machine to cut these. And the reason that these can be such bigger art as opposed to the other types of art is because they fill the entire platen practically 12 by 12. And again, here we go, example of a railroad. If you don't want to buy a railroad and you need it in different scales, then fine, here you go. And this is the reference to a 15 millimeter, essentially 15 or 10 millimeter train set that was on Amazon. And of course, the best thing, of course, is buildings. Again, with the Cricut machine. So there's an overview of an idea of our hills, the hills that are stacked on top of each other. Whereas here you can see the old style hill, and the fence or the cloth with the bush attached to it. And here's an example of just a random battlefield or battle that we had, and a photograph of it. So these contour hill shapes out of foamy, 6 millimeter thick, is proving to be a really helpful thing. And there you can see the original hex, and then of course the contours emanating out from it, which makes a big difference. And it gives you a pseudo slope that you can put the troops on. And it gives you a realistic impression of what the slope is. And here we see that we're using rings instead of the discs for showing casualties and hits to units on the game table. We've always known this. We just never got around to doing it. Really, couldn't find the right materials, and now we have. And the last picture here is of the index cards, the brigade file card index cards that we use. This template is for the horse and musket gunpowder. Here's a capture from Spira, how they showed their figures in regard to other manufacturers. And these are all 3D printed figures. And here's just a little image showing an example from a Hex Command Starships game with the Star Trek battle station there, or space station. So one day we'll get back into Hex Command Nova and Starships, and we'll have fun doing that. And this is just a capture showing an SU-100 or A-5 somewhere in the Soviet Union, probably Tablinka Museum, not sure. We also still offer these realistic-looking 10-pounder and 20-pounder parrots, the barrels. And here's an example of our bridge that's big, but it's one way we do offer the bridge template. And there again is our Spira miniatures because we want to support these guys. So what we're talking about here is Hex Command Mechanized using the file cards. So these would be the company or platoon file cards. I think they're basically company, if you will. So some of these links may be different. We may have to adjust the link because we've been working on the website. So let's just make that clear. We may have to stop and fix some things. But here is an example. Let's go, because we're at this moment, we need to create an Axis German file card. So here is enter new unit. But let's go see if we can find a unit ourselves. So this is, what does it say? Axis units list. All right, so these are the units we've already created. And see if we can have one here that will work for us. Infantry attack, armor, 3 light tanks. There's no real, here's the other thing that we could improve on. There should be a description here of what kind of unit it is. Infantry cause commands from infantry. So this might be it here. Combat Command B. Okay, so what we're looking at here is 2 Combat Command B. The reason it's named that is so that it's organized in the list properly. And we can see what he has by the numbers. He has a truck, a Hanomag half-track. He has a medium anti-tank gun and 4 heavy infantry stands and 2 Panzer IVs. And that looks to be about it. So he's got some armor, which is going to be maybe too much for the game that we're involved in. Let's go back to the index and create a new one. Enter new unit, allies, Axis, enter new unit. Okay, so let's do... Well, let's just do Kellerman 2. Kellerman infantry. All right. I don't know what these are, but they're future use. I'll submit this. All right. There's Kellerman infantry. And now we can go and select the units. We'll do 1 Kubelwagen, 2 Hanomag half-tracks, infantry, rifle, 4 infantry rifles, and let's do some mortars. And infantry mortar, just 2 is fine. And we'll submit this. All right, so we've created it. We're going to go back and look at it more specifically now. And here we can enter now the items one at a time. So it's, we said it was Kubelwagen. We'll call that the HQ. Hanomag. 1 and 2 and infantry 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think it's 81 millimeter, or what's the average? I think they were 81 millimeter mortars. Okay, and that's it. And then we'll just remove all these other things. This is the back side of the card. Okay, so let's go and submit this. Now, if I wanted to, I could, by the way, take all these and make them zeros so that they don't distract. Okay, and that's how it works. And now we just have to capture that. We open it up and we capture it and paste it in a Word document, and we're done. And then we print it on cardstock, and it's easy to put on the game table. So there we are. Okay, now continuing with our hex command mechanized file card creation. Let's go and get Kellerman some images. I think this should work. So we'll click on his card, his name for the card, and then we'll go and see if we can. I just added this browse commander images icons in box. There he is. Okay, so there you can see how it happened. So now we've got our guy, and he appears right here, and we could use an image, which reminds us we should go and try and find as many images of the units, because it's nice to have. So anyway, that's how this works. And now we're ready. So now we just use our capture program to capture this image after we verify all this stuff is correct. And by the way, it's card 1 of 1. So we do 1 of 1 right here. And we don't use card number 2, which is down here. So we'll just call this 2 of 2. I'm sorry, 2 of 2, right. But we're only using the 1. His CVS numbers, we don't have the readily available, so we won't put them in. Okay, there we go.